frequently asked questions about the treaty investor visa or the just investor visa to come into the United States. I'm Attorney Pandeli, and I'm managing attorney at Attorney LLC, and we're the office of Attorney LLC here. And so one of the big questions and misconceptions is the investor visa the visa where I have to put up $500,000 or $1 million in investment? And the answer is no. That's a very different type of visa, and so that's not even a visa. Technically, that is a green card. So you get a green card through that process, and this also kind of connects to the second question, which is, do I get a green card through the investor visa? And so through the E2 investor visa or treaty investor visa, the answer is no. The treaty investor visa is a non-immigrant intent visa. Basically, what that means is that your intent is not to remain in the United States for life. While a green card, by definition, the intent is to reside, because that gives you what's called lawful permanent residence. And so another question that comes up is something like, are there certain type of businesses that are favored? Or is there a certain type of business that I have to create, or that I have to direct and develop to increase my chances? And the answer is no. The requirement is that the business must be for profit. And so that's the way for the US economy to develop, and that's the way that Congress has intended for them to get outside investment into the country, and for additional jobs to be offered and to be opened. And so that's one of the other things that come up. But types of businesses, it varies. I mean, you could have anywhere from a hair salon to a trucking company to various types of franchises, to car washes, to restaurants, to there's a lot of real estate transaction businesses. Another question that comes up is, can you bring family to work with you? And the answer is yes. And so the family gets what's called a derivative visa, or a derivative application. And so it's all based on the original application. And so if the applicant, so if the business owner that's applying for the treaty investor visa, if they get the visa, then family automatically gets grandfathered into that. No, that does not mean that they automatically get the visa. They still have to ask the government for it. So it's not an automatic. But that's kind of how that process generally works. Another question is, I mean, can I borrow the funds? Where can I get the funds? Can I borrow the funds to start the business? And the answer is yes. However, you want to be really careful about this, because funds must be, you must be in control of the funds, and they must be what's called irrevocably committed. And so you cannot be in this process where you tell the government, listen, if I get the funding, I will do it. Really, you want to be in a place where you say, I have got the funding. And so you want to be careful with borrowed funds. But typically, you cannot get the funds from within the United States. So that is something that you want to look outside, because that's one of the intents of, why they put this law together. Let's see here. What other questions that come up here? How long? Oh yeah, that's a big one. So how long does it take to get a visa? And so the treaty investor visa, it's a really good visa, because it's one of the visas that gets processed the quickest, and so it could be anywhere from, I mean, we've seen, if you do what's called premium processing, which is an expedited service, I mean, we've seen things as fast as 2 weeks, and then on the later stages of it, it could take you 3-4 months to get your visa. And it really, because it's a document intensive process, it really depends on what you're doing, how you're doing it, and like how diligent are you, and have you provided all the requirements, and have you given the US government peace of mind that what they have in front of them is real, and that they don't need to ask additional things or additional requirements to give you the benefit. And so it really varies on that, but it's one of the quicker visas. Let's see here. Another question that comes up is there a quota for this visa? And the answer is no, which is really great. Like, for example, a lot of work-related or skill-related visas have quotas, like, for example, the famous or infamous, depends on how you look at it, H-1B. The H-1B is a skilled worker visa where they have 65,000 available. They have 65,000 available visas for like 4-year degree workers, and then another 20,000 for master and above. And so, you know, because that type of visa has, you know, it's oversubscribed, meaning like a lot more people apply for it, or, well, they get petitioned for it by the employer, then, you know, you get into a lottery situation. That's not the case with the treaty investor visas. There's no cap to it. And so what then really matters is just how good is your application, and, you know, have you crossed all the T's and dotted all the I's. You know, sometimes people ask questions while we're in the while we're talking about work visa. Sometimes people ask questions like, do I need a company in the US to sponsor me for it, or do I need to have something in the US to sponsor, you know, like an employer? And then the answer is no, because this is not an employment visa. You are creating employment. You are at the source of employment, so you don't need permission from someone else to do this, or you don't need someone to to petition for you. That's why it's called an application, because you can do it yourself. And so that's really not an issue in this case. And this covers some of the frequently, you know, asked questions around this particular type of visa. I mean, there's a lot of other questions like, how much is a substantial investment, you know, which, I mean, it really varies. And so you have different sources. Some people saying at least 75,000, some people saying at least 100,000, some people saying if you go over 150, you got a pretty sure way. And that's not necessarily the case, because the law is silent on the law is really silent on what the amount should be. It should be substantial, however. And so, you know, there's a hard and fast rule where, you know, the internet and the culture scape sort of outside of here, you know, and often a lot of attorneys, you know, they'll tell you, you know, over 75,000 rule, but there's no such rule. It's just a matter of whether the totality of the circumstances and the file that you have in front of that official warrants them giving you a thumbs up and an approval to get your visa, really. And so if you have any other questions, please feel free to post them in the comments, and I'll try to either make additional videos, or I'll try to respond within the comments, or you can call us, and we can schedule an appointment for you and see if it's something that we can work together on. Thank you for watching.